Okay, so the handle is used for that is if we are accessing more than one Excel book,
Yes,
so
yes,
we can use handle 1, handle 2,
exactly,
handle 3 like that.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
okay.
Okay, now let's start. I think people will join subsequently. So, uh, so like remember if yesterday, like we had one issue in the date. We were trying to find. So we used to have one collection where uh, we have three different dates, right? Let's say I have given 322, and I just wanted to find which is the date which is latest, right? Like which is having. So this is 4 April 2018 is the latest date. I want to find which is the date is the latest in out of all these three collection items that I have created. So yesterday, in the loop, what was the problem was there? We have not connected. So what happened? What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to loop in the collection first, and I'm going row by row. So first, what I'm trying to do, like if I am there in first row, uh, and I'm going in decision 2 and seeing that if I'm first row, the first value which is there I'm storing in calculation 2. So you see order dot item date, I'm storing in date variable. Okay, so this will get the first value of the collection that we have. After that, uh, like once we have stored the variable, again what it needs to do, like it has to go to the end of the loop. That is what we have not given. So what we can do, just bring the anchor and then bring the link here, just connect it and see there's no error. So after doing storing the value in the calculation 2 stage, we go to the end of the loop, and then again when it loop back, it iterate the value 1 to 2. So once it goes here, it's check that if the value is 1 or 2. So since the value is 2 now, it won't go into this loop. It will go here and check that decision, like this particular item is greater than this date. If it is greater than this date, it will go and store this value here. So let's run this process and see what's the result. So okay, I'm running at very fast speed. Let me just make the speed normal. And yeah, so see the first row, it's going to get the value of date here. Now again it is going to the second row, checking the value, it is less than the value. And the third time, if you see, it will go and calculate the value which is the latest value, and the latest value it will give you here. So always we have to have the loop always be always closed. It was actually open because after going here it was not understanding where it want to go. So you always have to go to the end of the loop so that it can start from the next row. Yeah. So apart from this, what we can do, like yesterday I gave you one example, right? Like there is a student and there is a grade, and how you can do it. Have you tried that? Any one of you? Like reading from Excel and storing it? Otherwise, let's try to do it now. We will do it. So let me create one Excel here. Uh, Student score, and what we can give here. So here what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create one Excel file with the following column value. Uh, so let me give the student name, percentage, and grade. So
Karan,
hey, hi. Yeah.
I did this sample. Can I show you, or you will do that one?
Yeah, sure, sure. You can show me and then we can see, like, you can show it,
Okay.
not a problem. Yeah.
Okay, 1 minute. So I have to share my screen, right?
Yeah. This is Venkatesh.
Yes.
Okay.
So, can you give the access, Karan? Hello.
Yeah.
You can see my screen, right?
Right, right. We can see the screen. Yeah.
Okay. I think the file is here. The student details. Okay. So I have created a student names mark without grade.
Okay.
So, okay. So I am deleting this and saving the file. Sorry. Okay. So here I have created create instance, open workbook,
Yeah.
get the sheets, and
Mm-hmm.
get the sheets and storing into these collections and looping that one,
Mm-hmm.
setting grade A, grade B, grade C, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So mark is greater than or equal to 80, grade A, less than
Right.
80, like that report.
Right. Right.
And otherwise F, like that I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I am running in normal mode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, the
Yeah,
process
that is good.
finished.
Yeah.
So like that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. So now you have all the understanding of how you can use everything, like collection, how you can use collection item, and then because this exercise cover almost all the concept which is there as part of the process studio, right? So that is good, Venkatesh. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean,
So only
for
one
others,
clarification here, Karan. This anchor is
yeah,
only for design purpose, or something can we do in using the anchor?
this anchor is just for design purpose. It's just to make your design more convenient, right? Because
Okay.
if the anchor will not be there, it would be very inconvenient to connect this particular item to this item, right? So that is why,
Yes.
yeah, we are using.
Okay. Okay. I am
Yeah,
stopping my screen now. You
sure.
can continue.
Yeah. So how about others, like did you get what Venkatesh tried to show here, or I mean, do you have any issue in this particular exercise? Okay, what we can do, like, okay, Venkatesh already shown, this particular exercise. We can take some other exercise. So let me, just create. So what we will do now, I have, one exercise here. So let me just have the marks of a different subject. Let's say randomly, if I say Hindi marks, English mark, and maths, right? So I just gave value, some random value, and this is like 2365. Average. Now what I have to do, like I have to read all this value, I have to add all this value, and I have to keep printing the average here in this particular same row in horizontal manner, right? One by one. How we will do this? Okay, just see, I mean, it is just a same thing, but it will again make, the concept that we have already discussed, how we can use in efficient manner, that will showcase here. So let's save this file. I have given a student score, and yeah, so let's create a fresh process here. So now first thing what we will do, let's create a new page first. Okay, we'll give a name, read Excel file. Okay, so in this page what we are going to do, we are first going to read the Excel file, but before that let's create one collection, because anyway we are going to store all the value which is there in Excel file in a collection, right? So let's create a collection called student marks. Okay, and just add the field, so just give the same name, whatever we have given here. So field 1 is Hindi marks and English marks, math marks, and the last field is average. Okay, and the type will be number, 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 and number. Okay, so I have created one of the collection here. No, since I have already created, okay, so this is a new page that I've created, read Excel file. So what I will do first, I will read the value of the Excel file in the collection. So for that, if you remember, first thing that what we used to do, we used to select the particular VBO, that like the business object MX Excel VBO, and then we create the instance, right? So the instance gets created, and just write it true that you are making, this is a flag, right? Enable event is a flag. So what you are trying to do, you are enabling this particular event, and the output is nothing but it is pointing toward the particular Excel that just I have created. So create a handle variable, so give it a name, create instance. Okay, after that takes two more action. So give this action as, then what you want to do, you want to open workbook. So for that, what we can say, like you have action here, open workbook, right? So for open workbook, you can select the handle which you have already created, and you will give the name of the the file name. So file name is nothing but the location of the file that you have here. So from where you want to open the file, so right click on this, copy as path, and just Control V, paste it. So here you have given the file name and create the workbook name that you are going to access it. So this will store the value of the workbook name in the text file. Just click OK, and then you want to get collection. So you want to get all the value which is there in Excel file as a collection, right? So get worksheet as collection. So for that, you can take handle, workbook name will be workbook name, and worksheet name will be so here if you see so this is worksheet name, right? So what we can do, just paste here sheet 1, okay, and just leave this blank. Okay, so I have created the read Excel process. I'm going to connect it everything. Now the thing is basically this particular student mark collection is local to this particular page, right? So I told you yesterday to make it global so that it can be accessed from any other page in the particular process. You have to uncheck this value, hide from the other page in the process. Once you do that, you go here and open the get collection. So here for storing the collection, once you come here in the main page, the student mark will be visible to you. So you can take this student because you want to store the particular Excel file in this collection. So this is output that you are going to access it. Okay, so and even what we can do, we can make this also global so that we can access it from the main page. Okay, now you see if we just click it, sorry, just bring the page here, read Excel file, finish, and just link it. So and just try to run it, just see what's. So it's going to the second page, it's creating the instance, opening the workbook, and getting the collection. So now if you go here, you can see the current value will be visible here. Okay, all right. Now the thing is what we want to do, we want to iterate through all the value which is there in collection, and we want to store the value like we wanted to basically add the value and divide by 3 because you are calculating the average, right? And then you want to store in the particular cell. So first thing is that since in order you wanted to access this particular collection, so obviously you will require a loop stage. So you'll bring a loop. So you can say, okay. Now in this loop, you wanted to iterate through student marks, right? So you can select in the collection a student mark and you give it. Okay, now I will take a calculation stage here, and what I will do, I'm going to take the marks of English, give one bracket here, plus, so see how I'm accessing the marks, right? Like the element of the collection. So collection dot field name, and then marks of math and divided by 3. And we can just create a variable average marks. So average mark will be created and you are going to store it, right? So this is give the name calculate average marks. Okay. And after that, what you want to do, right? You wanted to store the value in the particular you wanted to store the value. So once you calculate the value, you want is to store in this particular cell. Okay, so this cell is nothing but D2, right? And you wanted to keep adding the value from D2, D3, D4, right? So this way you wanted to add. So what you can do, right? So how you will do this, how you'll achieve this thing. So in order to do that, you have an action call. So you can bring the action stage here. Okay, and in action stage, you can select MX Excel VBO, and then there is a action called set cell value. If you go here, this is set cell value. So in set cell value, again, since you wanted to access handle, right? So as I told you, I already made this global variable, so you can read it from here. Now cell reference. What is a cell reference? And what is the value that you want to access? So value is nothing but the average value that you have created, right? So average marks, click OK, so ignore it. And cell reference is nothing but D2, right? Now, so you cannot write just D2 because you have to store the value in D2, D3 and D4, right? So how you can do this is like you can take D as a static, okay? And give and then what you can do, just click OK here, create a data item, a numeric data item, let's say I and number, and give the value 1. For now, just give the value 1. I will tell you how you can give the name set cell value, and here just bring the value 1 here. Just click OK. So if you just go here and validate, evaluate the expression, right? So if you give the value 2, so it said D2, right? So this is correct. Now what is the requirement is that you wanted to keep iterating this value, you want to keep increasing the value. So right now this is 1, right? So before coming here setting the cell value, you wanted to increment the value. So we will again take one calculation stage here, and what we will do, we will do I plus 1, and we will store the value in I. Okay, so it's just a simple logic, like since you wanted to increment the value of the particular cell, so first time it will be D2, second time it will be D3, third time it will be D4. How I'm achieving this? I took a simple numeric variable I initialize the value with 1, and I keep adding the value every time and storing the I variable. So give the value increment. Now just link it, everything. Okay, so yeah. Now what we will do, once we have added everything and stored everything, we wanted to gracefully close the Excel file also. So close and save. Close workbook. So take the handle. Yeah. So you can take handle, workbook name, and save data is true. So since after doing all the operation you wanted to close and save your Excel file, so we just added here. So let me run this process and see what's the result you are getting. Just going here, opening the workbook, getting the workbook as a collection. Now it's going to the first row, adding the average mark and storing in the cell value. Okay, so my process is completed. Now go here. Now here you will see the current value, right? So once you go here in the Excel file, see, so it calculated all the average value and is stored in this particular cell. So this was a very good example and a very basic example where if you have observed pretty much whatever we have covered till now we have used, like how you can basically go from one page to other page, because let's see, this is just a reading Excel file. There will be multiple sub pages, like multiple functionality will be there as part of your process. You do not want to mix everything in a single page because your process will become too long and too complicated to read or someone to understand what you have created the process. So you create a sub page here, like as many sub page that you want to create, and you basically call the sub page from main page. So your process always start from the main page and it goes subsequently to all your sub pages. Then basically if you see the how you are trying to access the trying to fetch the value of the Excel file to this particular collection, and with using this collection how you're using the loop stage to iterating through each and every row, and then whatever logic that you want to apply using the calculation stage, or instead of, since I used two calculation stage, you could have used multi calculation stage to do the same stage, right? So those things you can do, and then how you can come out of loop, like if you wanted to do some kind of operation in Excel file, like how I did using the set cell value, I stored the value in the particular cell. So see, by this you can pretty much achieve all this thing. So this was covered for many things that we have started for the process that we have used. Apart from that, yesterday we have taken input and output. That is also very important thing, because in any process, once you start building any process, and if you start going from one page to other page, and even if you go from process to another process or calling a sub process, you will be passing some data to the particular process and you wanted to get some output value. So you pass some input value and you try to get the output value. So always remember, the input value will be always be passed from the higher process, and output value will always be retrieved from the lower process. So higher process will be the main, like the process from which you are calling the particular page or sub process or process. So you will basically assign the input value to the starting of the sub process, and then you are, whatever output that sub process is getting at the end of the sub process, you will assign the output value and will retrieve in the main process. So that is what the the concept of input and output. We will take a very simple example and we'll try to see how this again sub process and how we can calculate input and output again. So it will give the idea before
One
jumping
second, sir.
into. Okay, sure. Control Z, just
Here
yeah.
you have shown this one, right? So can we view while running the program? Can we view the Excel sheet while running the program?
Yeah, why not? You can do that, right? You can do that. So what you can do, basically, see, this is read Excel file, right? So once you have read the Excel file, go here, choose the action stage here. Yeah, so just take MS Excel view and there is a show function, show. So just bring the handle here. So before coming into the loop, we will open the Excel file. And then we will loop into through every stage. Yeah. Okay. Oh, just a minute. Let me first, because it was saved, right? So let me first, so I paused the process from here. So let me first, delete the value. Yeah. Okay. Now for you guys, there is an exercise for tomorrow. So I have basically added the value here in horizontal manner, right? Like I have created the average marks of Hindi, English, and math marks and show up here. Just add the Hindi marks here and bring the average here. Add the English marks here, bring the average here. Add the math marks here and bring the average here. Just try to do it from your end. See how you can build up the logic and how you can do it in efficient way. Okay, so that will be an exercise for you. And with this exercise also you can understand end-to-end things. All right. So yeah, I was talking about. I think it's clear to you, right?
Karan,
Hey, yeah, go ahead.
actually, we are reading the data from the Excel sheet, right?
Right.
So while doing that average, we have to convert to two numbers, no? But in this case, we are not converting to two numbers.
See what happened. I told you yesterday. Whatever happened, like whenever you get the data right from the Excel sheet, it will always be in text file, like as a
Right.
text variable, right? Now here, what I did, I explicitly I overwritten the value, because I'm finally getting the value in this collection, and I've already created my fields here. If I would have not created the fields here, anyway, it would have taken it here, right? The initial value and whatnot, right? But the type would be text. In that case, what you have to do, like before calculating the average, you have to first explicitly do the conversion. So yesterday, I think I have shown you, you have how you can convert the value. You have conversion here to number, right? So to number, basically whatever value that you give and then convert it and then add it. So first you have to convert all the value to number and then add it. So anyway you can do it, right? Here, since I have already created the input value field here, I don't require to do it, and I have assigned the value number. All right. I hope it is clear to you. Any doubt?
Yeah, I'm clear.
Okay, good. So, okay. So now let's jump ahead to input and output once again to give you more idea on that. So, okay. Let's create a process where I am basically trying to calculate the future date. Like there is a date in the future that I want to calculate, and how I can pass the value and retrieve the value from the particular process. So I'm creating a subpage here called future date. Okay, and here I'm just taking a calculation stage, and because I wanted to get the I wanted to add some numeric value. Let's say today date is 22 March, right? So I mean 23 in India. So what we can do is basically we wanted to add, let's say 20 days, right? 20 days more in the particular date. So for that, so here you take two variable. First is like a date. So just give a value date and number of days. Take number. So what I wanted to do is basically I wanted to add date. So like in the particular, if you go here in the date function, there is a function called add days, right? So once you click on add days, you see you get this particular utility. You click on date here, bring the number of days here, and then paste. So this function add days, what it will do, it will add the number of days that you are going to add in your date item, and where you wanted to store, in the date. Okay, so you have created this and just link it. Calculate date, just give a name. Now see, the thing is I wanted to call this particular page from the main page, right? So I have a stage here, page. So create a reference to an existing page. So this is a future date I have created, and let's bring the end stage here. So my main process is ready. Now what I wanted to do, like I basically wanted to pass some value from the main process and retrieve the value in the main process itself, whatever the future date is. So let me create a data item, say future date and give a date. So, and here, so see, the thing is, if you wanted to pass the value from the main process, let's say this is a higher process and this is a lower, so absolutely this is a page. What I'm trying to make you understand is, so whenever you're passing the value, input value, what you have to do, since you are passing to this particular process, right? So at the start of this process, you always have to add the values, like since you are going to retrieve the value from the main process, in the start of any process you are going to add the value that you wanted to take. So you wanted to basically take a date value that you are passing from the main process, and this is a date type, and you wanted to store in date variable, and this is number of days. This is a number variable, right? So you wanted to store in number of days. Okay, so see, once I've added this value, click reset, and you go here and you open this particular stage. So this is a page I am calling. I have assigned the initial value that I am supposed to receive from the main page in my start stage, right? So once you go here in your future date, in the input value, you will see the same name that I have created here, date and number of days. Now in date, what you can do, go here in the date, there is a now function which will give you today days. So just I have created now. And number of days, let's say you wanted to add 25 days from the today days. So I just gave the 25 here. And then what you wanted to do, whatever the output that you are getting. So your output you are getting in the date function, date item again. So the output that you are going to pass from this particular page will always be stored in your end. So input will always be stored in your start and output will always be stored in your end. So go here, add the output and say that future date, and then this will be not like a data date type item, and you just pass it from here. Okay, so now you go to the main page and you go here, you will see a output tab here. The same output will be reflected here, future date. Now what you wanted to do, you wanted to store in the future date. So see, this is how you pass the value between, like, input value and output. So you're passing the input to future date page and you are retrieving back the value which you will going to finally store in future date. So let me run this process. So let's run this process in a debug mode. So what we can do, like, let's create a breakpoint here. Okay, see, I'm going to the future date page. I'm calculating the value. So it calculated the value, and once I come to the main page, it shown me the value here in the future date. So this is what, a very basic example, but it show you clearly the concept of input and output, how you're going to pass the input and how you retrieve the output value. And this is going to be same in the process also. So let's say, let me just, okay. So this was a stage I was talking about yesterday and I was not able to show. Let's do it now. So let me take one process, if I have any process here. Yes, here. Okay, so let's see, there is a one process called circular path here I have. What I'm trying to do here, so I've already shown you circular path, right? So in this circular path, basically I wanted to get some input from the other process and I wanted to execute it. So for the iteration and maximum loop, I'm not going to assign any value here, and I am going to define the value. I'm going to take the value from the other process. So as I told you, since I'm going to get the input value, so I always add in the start page, start stage. Yeah. So let me add two value. So it says that iteration, and this is a not number type and is stored in iteration, and then there is a max loop. This is number type and I'm going to store in max loop. Okay, so after that I wanted to pass the value of iteration, whatever the final value of iteration is there, to my main process. So itr, then number, take the value here. So see, I have provided the input and I have also sending the output back from the end stage. Just save the process. Okay, now let me close it and go back to this process again. What I will do, I will just connect it. Now once you open this particular process, right, this is a process in which I made the changes, right? So as soon as I bring up this process, you see it is asking for 2 input because I have defined the input in the particular process. So I can pass the input from my main process. So let's say you define iteration 1 and max loop as 5. Okay, and you wanted to store the iteration value here. So let me run it. See, I got the value 5 here because it iterated for 5 10 and returned the value here. Now you can see this. You can see that when I call this particular process, it didn't went to that particular process, right? But when I'm calling the sub page in a particular process, like it is going to sub pages actually and coming back to the main page. But in case of calling a process or calling a sub process from the any other process, it won't go there. But what you can do if you want to debug it, you know, if there is any problem and you don't know what's happening there, you can create a breakpoint, run the process. Okay, the breakpoint has arrived. Once you iterate it, so once you step it, it will take you to the particular process. See, it came into this process. I'm just waiting for the process to end. As soon as I end, it takes you back to the main process and give you the value. So this is, you know, very good example of, you know, how you can pass the input and output using the pages and using the values that you have basically. Yeah. Guys, just give me 1 minute. I'll just back. Hello, am I audible to you?
Yes, correct.
Okay, okay. Sorry for that. Yeah. So that was all about the input and output, and I hope that you must have got the idea how we can achieve that. Now we will now go and start the objects. So what is object and how it is different from the process? So before going there, what we can do, let's open an Object Studio and first try to understand how the Object Studio is different from the Process Studio. So as I told you, in order to achieve the robotic process automation, as far as the Blueprism is concerned, we have two main components. One is Process Studio and one is Object Studio. Everything that you see will be happening in between Object Studio and Process Studio. Okay, so Here what, okay, but before going to Object Studio, I also wanted to show you like how we actually running the bots, right? Like how we are actually running the process that we are creating here. So the process that we are actually creating here is you'll be seeing it run in control room. So in production, like administrators usually will have the access to the control room, where under the queue, like you can have different, I will be taking the session on queue also later, but I'm just giving you an idea, like I'll show you here. In the control room, this is a control room. Here, whatever process that you have will be executing here. Now, in the control room, these are nothing but the available process in the control room, okay? And this is the available resources. So when I say available resources is but my bots. So bot will be, let's say, this is my particular system, which is assigned as a bot here to run on these processes. And these are nothing but the instance that I'm going to create here. So if I'm going to execute a process here by using this particular bot, it will create an instance here. So whatever process that I have created here, I can actually run it from the control room. So let's say this was a session 2 process that I've created. So let's save this process. Let's see if let's see if we can run it instead of running here. If we can run it from the control room. Okay, so I have created. So first thing is how you will make a process available in the control room. So if you see this particular link tool here, so I mean, what is the purpose of this is once you double click and open it, there is an option here which called publish this page to the control room. So as soon as you select this particular option and you click OK, right, and just save it. When you go into the control room here now, so there is an option here. When you click it, there is a refresh option here. Let me first, okay, let me again go here. Let me close this. Let's take other process and try to do it. Sometimes it don't get visible. It take time because I'm doing it in my local system. So it was a student score process, right? Let me save this particular process. Okay. So now I've saved this process and I go here, publish this page, publish this process to control room, right? Click OK and I save it. Student score, okay. So session 1 student score. So you see here, I publish this process, right? So as soon as you publish this process, a green tick mark will be available here, which shows that this process got published to the control room. So once you go here in the control room, you see the session 1 student score process got published here. Even the session 2 was get published here. It took some time, but this got published here. Now let's say you wanted to run this particular process, how you can do it. So there is like, a different way to do that. So there is a call, start selection. So you can bring this particular, this bot on this particular process, drag and drop here on this process. So you see this particular session so this particular instance got created here in this particular panel. Now here the state is pending, right? So as soon as your process got available in the control panel, the state will be pending. It's created by admin because I'm an admin user. The resource is the bot that is going to work on the process. Now let me start this particular process. So I can do it from here. Okay. So you can start right clicking and start here also. There are multiple ways that you can start it. So let me starting the particular process. Let me select it. See, it got completed. So it started at 10:36 and it got completed in a fraction of second. You cannot see here. So this is the way, and when you double click it, you will see that what all stages that it basically this log will show you what all stages that is executed before coming to the end of this, and what is the time when it started and whatnot. So this is how you can run any process through control room. Actually, when we'll be going into the advanced topic and when we'll be seeing the queue concept, we'll be seeing how through the queue you will be doing it. But this is just for the understanding of the control room concept, like how basically you can bring a process to the control room, how you can publish it, and how you can execute the same process through the use of the bot, and how you can run the process here. Okay, yeah, so this was all about it. And now let's quickly go to the Object Studio. So I hope it is clear to you. There should not be any doubt here. So let me create an object here. Let's give new object. So this is how you create an object. So once you click on the object, just right click it and bring it here. So let me first open the Process Studio also here and take this here. So the main difference, as soon as you open the Object Studio and Process Studio, you will find it is there will be default 2 pages which will always be there: initialize and cleanup. These particular pages have their own specific uses in the Object Studio. We don't use it very often, but sometimes we do use it. Then your page starts from the action 1 stage. Okay, apart from that, if you see in the Process Studio, your process is always start from the main page, and from main page is go into the whatever pages that you have called, and then again come back to the main page. But in Object Studio, there is nothing like main page or other pages. Like the process don't go from one page to other page. It always depend upon which particular action that you are calling from the main process. So what is that? Like I will go into that particular section, like how you are going to use this Object Studio from the Process Studio. But before that, if you see the difference that is there, there are a couple of stages that we have in the Object Studio is not available in the Process Studio. So we have some more like stages like read, write, navigate, code, and wait. So these 5 important stages which is there in Object Studio is not available in the Process Studio, and these are very useful stages around which there are a lot of work that you will be doing on Object Studio. And obviously, like apart from this, you have all this other stages which is already available in the Object Studio. So this is a basic difference between Object Studio and Process Studio. Now, what is object actually? What is, like we used to call it, business objects. So object is nothing but actual interfacing with the application. So whenever you talk about automation, right, you will be actually working on any particular application to automate it. The, the application can be a web-based application. The application can be a desktop-based application. The application can be a mainframe-based application. The application can be a Java-based application. So till now, these are the 4 type of application that Blueprism supports, right? So you can automate through Blueprism. So in order to interact with this particular actual application, the Blueprism uses business object. So you create a business object, and for business, this business object will have a lot of different actions. Let's say this is action 1, action 2, and all these action will be in a part of different pages. So you can create a new page called action 2. You can define your action 2 here, and so on. And then accordingly, you can call this action using, there is a stage called action stage here in the process, and through this action stage, you can call whatever action of this particular object that you have created here. So the difference between these two things are, in Process Studio, all the business rule that you have as part of your automation, you'll be defining in your Process Studio, and whatever interfacing, like whatever action and whatever application specific the things that is getting performed will be taken care by Business Studio. So Process Studio will never talk to the application. It was always Business Studio which will talk to the application, and it will basically pass the value from the Object Studio to Process Studio, and from here, like you can pass the value from the Process Studio to Object Studio, and the same manner that we have seen, like input and output. Okay, then apart from this, you can never publish any Object Studio into the control loom. In control loom, you can always have your process which can run. Object Studio is just a supporting part, to the process to completely automate the particular application. So in control loom, you will be always running your process, not the Object Studio. Object Studio is just to support your process. So I hope this is clear too. If you let me know if you have any doubt regarding Object Studio or object, what is the basic concept of object? Now, what I wanted to show you, so if you see in the Object Studio, we have one of the option here, application modeler. You will never find this particular option in the Process Studio. So the two main difference also here is an application modeler and the launch stage. So there is, as I told you, Object Studio is always interact with the particular application, right? So in order to interact with the particular application, there is an option in the Object Studio to create the modeler of the particular application that you wanted to basically try to access the particular application. So we will first start with a very basic example. We will take a notepad and we will try, because notepad is an executable, you can assume as a desktop application. So we will see that how we can create a business object, just to open the notepad and see how we can work on it. So excuse me. Yeah, so let me first delete this particular page. Okay, and yeah, so first we will create application modeler. Okay, define this notepad. Okay, and we will go here. We'll give a, this is a window based application now. Okay, and yeah, so go to C drive. Window. Okay, yeah, so this is the application that we have. Okay, just leave the other field as it is and click on next, finish. So this is, you know, just a model of the particular application just got created, and now we will see how we can, you know, basically identify the particular application here. So if you click on this notepad and you just try to launch it, you will see this particular notepad got open. Now what I wanted to do is I just wanted to identify the particular notepad area where I wanted to write something, right? So this is just a very basic example to show how you can spy on the notepad area. So once you launch it, so as soon as you launch it from your application modeler, you will see an option called identify. Let me just close this again. So see, once I click here notepad, I get an option called launch. So I click on launch, this page gets open, right? Now once you click here on identify, this particular area gets, you know, so I'll take you in detail, like, you know, what all modes that is there in Blueprism to spy the particular element. So always remember that whenever you'll be working with a desktop based application, so you can assume this notepad as an executable file as a desktop based application. So always the spy mode will be in Win32 mode. If you're going to the web based application, it will be in HTML mode, right? So accordingly it will change. So it says that use control and left key to select the highlighted item. Okay, and you can use control plus right key to cancel it. So since I want to select this item, I will click on control and left click. It gives me the particular attribute of the page that I or application that I wanted to spy on it. So if you click on match, it will give you, you know, the tick mark will give you all those particular element which is crucial to identify the boundary of the particular notepad. So I just uncheck the empty field because it's not required, and there is an option called highlight. So as soon as you click on highlight, it says that my attribute selection is right. So after this, what I can do, I can say apply. So I applied this and I click on OK. So just close this. Now what I'm trying to do here, first thing is I'm trying to launch my notepad, right? So let's say launch your notepad. After the launch, I want to write something in my notepad. So let's say write. After this, you want to close your notepad. Close. So see, for each and every action that you trying to achieve in our Objective Studio, you create a separate page for it. And separate page are nothing but the action that you wanted to identify. So first you will start with a launch action page that you have created. How you can launch it? So there is a stage called navigation stage, which help in launching, closing, and like, you know, you perform all sort of mouse click and all. Through this you can do it. So this is the application that you wanted to launch. So what you will do, you select this particular application, you bring it here, and the action will be to launch here. You can see. So you can click here. You can just link this to stage. Then you can go to the write stage. So for writing, you have a write stage here. Just bring this write stage here. And so this is a notepad where you wanted to write it. Bring it, give the value. Hello world. Okay. Just connect this, and then a navigate stage where you can just bring the application and terminate this, close this. So see, you have created all these particular actions. Now, okay. Now, in order to use this particular actions in your in a process, so you see, first if you start from here, you open it, right? Now see, hello world is got written here. Once you go here, just link this stage. See, the page got closed. So this is how you can basically build all those actions that you wanted to achieve in your Object Studio. And once you are done, what you wanted to do, you wanted to call this action from your main page, right? From your process, because this is just interfacing with your application, but you wanted to use them in Process Studio. So for that, you have to first publish all the pages here. So there is option called publish. So as soon as you publish, these actions will get appear in your main Process Studio. So as soon as you publish, you can see this particular icon here. Publish. Publish. I published all these actions. Let me just save this. So I just saved my Object Studio here. And one more thing I wanted to do. So see here, what I'm doing is I'm hard coding the value, right? I don't want to hard code the value. What I want to do is basically, okay, just click it. What I wanted to do, I wanted to pass some value from my main process, and I wanted that value which I'm passing from the main process to my Object Studio to print on the notepad. Okay, so as I told you, whenever we are passing some value to some pages or some object or some process or some process, you have to define in your start. So here we will add the value. Let's say write value, and this is nothing but a text file, right? Store in just write text, write value. Okay, now this particular write value that we have just created, if you open here the particular this writer property, here in the value you can just drag and drop this particular variable to this. Okay, click on OK. So yeah, let's save this process. Okay, let me just close this. Now go here or go to your Studio and just click on create process. Just give any random name, new process. Just open this. Now, yeah. So basically, I wanted to call this whatever object that I've created from my process studio. So what I will do first, I have an action stage, launch, right? So I told you whenever you wanted to access your objects using the process, you have a stage called action stage. So you bring the action stage into your process, and there will be business object that you have created will be available here. So what is the name of the business object that we have created just now? You go here, the name is nothing but new object, right? So if you go here, there is something called new object. Okay, so in the new object, first I'm trying to launch it, right? So just launch it. After this, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to write some value, right? So this is a new object, right? Now as soon as click on the write action, you see like there I've defined the input, and the same input value will come here. Now what you can do, you can create a variable here, a text variable, right? And define this as a text variable and hello world. Now you go into this, right, and just bring here. Okay, and after this there's a last stage called terminate stage. So bring the action here and close. Sorry, yeah, so just close this. See, once I have created this process, let me run it and see. Let me run it at very slow speed, see how this works. So first is launching it, it's writing the value hello world, and that is closing it. So you see, like, first we have learned how we can create the object studio, how we can create different action pages, like you want to launch, you wanted to write some value, you wanted to terminate some value, and then how you can use the object that you have created in your process studio, and how also you can pass the value from the process studio to the object studio. You can also do one thing, if you wanted to debug something, what you can do, you can put a breakpoint here, just run it. Okay, it came here. Once you step here, you see from the process studio I came to object studio, so it launched it. Again you go, it came to the process studio. Now it's going to the writer stage, it wrote the value. If you go, you see here, now again it will go to the process studio, again it's going to the object studio, and it is closing the page. But once you run directly the process here, you don't see the object studio running, only when you debug it, run in the debug mode, right? So this was all about the object studio. This was very basic example just to showcase how all the basic concepts are, and from the tomorrow session we'll be taking you to the more advanced concept, and we'll look more like how we can automate from end-to-end things. All right, so this was all for the today. Let me know if you have any doubt till whatever we have discussed. Otherwise, we will take it from tomorrow. Yeah, guys.
Karan, tomorrow we have
This is
the
Aruna.
session.
You able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Aruna. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is like how we used to have multi-calculation part. Similarly, do we have facility for even these actions as well? Because like this is very simple one. Here we are writing, I mean, we are dragging 3 different actions like for launch, write, and close. What if
Right.
suppose if we are having multiple actions? Because instead of write, suppose if we have n number of actions, do we need to drag and drop each time those many actions? Instead of that, any facility like to define all actions in one particular box?
Okay. So see, I'll tell you what you can do. Okay, just first reset it. I got your question, Aruna. Let me answer it. So the thing is, from the process studio, first let's go to the object studio. There is an option called, once you right click it and you click it here, it will take you to the object studio. Now this is my object studio. What I did, I defined launch, write, and close in a different pages here, right? Different pages are nothing but the different action that I've defined in my object studio. Now I could have defined all the action launch, write, and close in a single page also, and just give a name, you know, a random action, whatever you want to name it. I could have done all the things in a same particular the page and define the action name here. So this is why I did separately. I'll tell you. So what happened? There is a concept of reusability. This is very important concept. So what happened when you create and your different team member wanted to create different processes across, you don't want to create the object again and again, because there will be several objects which can be reused across different processes, right? So different processes can consume the same objects. There is no restriction. Like the same process that I've created can only access this particular object. Any process can consume this object. So in order to consume the same object, what you wanted to do always, whatever action that you have, you don't combine all the action in a same page. You just bifurcate, because some process will just require you to launch the application. They don't want to write anything, and some process want you to write something, so you will be using the write. So if you would have defined everything in a same action page, you could not like other process could not have used this particular object. So that is why this object have this reusability concept. So you can reuse this object across various multiple processes by bifurcating your actions into different pages. All right, I hope it is clear to you, Aruna.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, Karan.
no. So tomorrow we don't have any class because I think tomorrow is Saturday, right? So we will again come back on Monday and we'll take it from there. All right. Till the time you can practice whatever we have discussed so far. We have almost covered Process Studio and we have gone to the basic Office Object Studio, and we will go into more deep into Object Studio and further. So yeah. So anything that you wanted to discuss, guys, or we can conclude for today?
You have shown those 4 applications: Windows application, Java application, mainframe application, and web-based applications.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
is this not supported to SAP applications?
See, so what I told you, right? This is an application modeler. So application modeler is the most important thing, which will be, will be interacting with your application, right? So once you open your application modeler and go to the application wizard, these are the only 4 applications that you can automate through Blueprism. Window application, Java based application, browser based application, mainframe application. Now when you say SAP application is not a specific application. It's a window based application only, right?
Yes, yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, simple. So when you say mainframe application, it is a host application. So it is always different, you know. So these four will cover, I think, almost everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Any other question, guys?
Karan, what about web service and web API or Windows service?
Yeah, those things are also there as part of you can consume through this Object Studio. So there is like you wanted to bring you wanted to, like, you have an API and what you wanted to, you call that API, and the API will fetch you the JSON. So like let's say you are using a RESTful API, right? So the response of the RESTful API is JSON, right? So the JSON value that you have received, you wanted to read back in your you wanted to fetch that through the object, and you read that JSON and then store that JSON value to the collection. So let's say you have four field. So if you have seen JSON, right? Let's say you have it based in array form. I mean, and there is four fields that is you are retrieving for each and every employee. Let's say employee number, employee designation, and salary and all. So you are going. So there is a process through which you can you can read the JSON file, and then similarly you can store in form of array in collection. And once the value is there in collection, you can pretty much use the same way that till now we are using it, right? It is the same thing. So let's say when you are working with an Excel file, you already have value in the Excel file. From the Excel file, you put all the value in the collection. Now, once you have the collection, you can play whatever way that you want to use it, right? Whatever operation that you want to perform. The same with the APIs. So you fire the API, you got the JSON value, and then you can load the JSON value to the collection. You read it and store in the collection, and then once the value is there in collection, you can pretty much use in whatever way that you want to use.
Okay, Karan. So that means Blueprism will support all the applications. Is that correct, or it will not support any other applications like?
Yeah, it will support. I mean, it will support. Only thing is with the Chrome-based, so Blueprism support like I browser mostly. In Chrome, there are we see that it's not that smooth that is there in I-based application.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Karan.
No problem. Any other question, guys? So I think we can conclude for today, and let's meet on Monday, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. All right, guys, then have a wonderful weekend, and see you on Monday then.
Yeah, thanks, Karan. Same to you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Karan.